Ever since Jake Paul fought Mike Tyson, this has brought back up the conversation of, is Jake Paul bad for boxing? Is he a real fighter, quote unquote? What does this do for the sport? Does it make the sport look bad? Does it do good for the sport? And this has caused a ton of boxers to come out and hate on Jake Paul and say what he's doing is terrible for the sport, even though he got the most eyes ever on the two greatest women's fighters in the sport ever, arguably. He got 60 million households to watch that fight, but you still have boxers coming out and saying that he is bad for their business. It's ridiculous in my opinion. This has caused Carl Froch and Ariel Helwani to go scorched earth on each other.
As I was sitting here on Wednesday, I'm doing the show, minding my own business, all is good in our world, and all of a sudden, I see people in the chat saying, "You've pissed off the Cobra. The Cobra is coming for your head."
You don't want to piss off the Cobra. No, Carl Froch was a great boxer, but in this space, he really can't compete with Ariel.
You've upset the Cobra. Now, being the boxing aficionado that I am, I knew right away. Oh, the Cobra? Carl Froch? Froch on Fighting? YouTube channel?
So-called boxing journalists. Ariel Helwani.
Yes.
Talking shit. He was talking shit on his show last week. Absolute nonsense. Really exposing his knowledge, his limited knowledge, professional boxing.
Okay, pause it right there. I've never called myself a boxing journalist, perhaps a combat sports journalist. I don't like to, shoehorn myself into one particular thing.
Be equally as big, if not bigger, because everybody in Britain would be like, fuck me, Froch is going to iron out Jake Paul. This is going to be great. It'd be huge.
Okay,
Ariel,
that's an interesting point. Him fighting in the UK is obviously a big deal. He's the pride of Nottingham. We love Nottingham. Him fighting in Nottingham is a big deal. Him fighting in the UK is a big deal, 100%. I wasn't talking about Jake Paul going to the UK, obviously. Yeah, sure. I mean, every person who's trying to fight him, if they say, come to my home country, it's a big deal. Yeah, because you're the star here. The conversation wasn't about you. It was about him.
Keep your mouth shut, because you don't know about the Cobra's career.
Yeah, I do.
You have to do your research and look into it, but you're making yourself sound fucking stupid. What? I don't know where the fuck you've come from, but you don't know anything about boxing. I think you stick to MMA journalism.
No.
Your boxing knowledge is obviously flawed and limited. You ain't got a fucking clue.
I think the thing that Carl Froch is failing to realize, Ariel is saying, what is the biggest fight overall? Here in America, the UK, you're not going to take a guy like Carl Froch, who is a very niche star in the UK, and bring him over here to make a Jake Paul fight. Jake Paul looks for guys who transcend the sport. Nate Diaz, Mike Tyson. You need big stars, okay? Carl Froch is not that guy. I think what this really comes down to is a lot of these guys feel disrespected when Ariel gives their opinion because he's not a real fighter and he does have strong opinions, but it's like you don't need to have been a fighter to say something that makes sense. But a lot of these guys just get offended. And then Ariel says facts like, Carl Froch, of course you would take the payday for Jake Paul, but at the same time you sit there and say how terrible he is for boxing. If he's so terrible, why are you giving him the attention? Don't you just want him to go away? But no, they take the initiative to talk about him because they want that fight. They know they want that fight, but they won't say it publicly. They'll just attack him and attack him and attack him. You had guys like Tony Bellew who got paid to go fly over from the UK to the Jake Paul Mike Tyson press conference to tell off Jake Paul in front of everybody. If you really think he is so bad for your sport, don't give him the attention. But these guys are hypocritical, and they are going to keep continuing to give Jake the attention. And in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. They should want the Jake Paul fight. It's a massive payday that they've probably never gotten in their careers prior. But you can't be hypocritical and act like you're above it, and then at the same time, you attack him and say, I'd fuck you up if we fought. I would put an end to this. It would be over. You can't do both. Either say you want the fight or stop giving him attention.